Hi guys, welcome to Healing Roots Botanicals. My name is Katura, and tonight, sorry I noticed that was back there like hanging. I don't want no flies going in my house, but tonight we're going to talk about roots. So one of the very first lessons that I've learned from planting, being a plant mom, etc., is the importance of roots, the root system. That's the foundation of the plant, as well as it's the basically it's the house. You build a house, the house has a foundation. Without a healthy root system, there's no way that anything else is going to come in and feed into it. So if you have a house, for example, and you build a house on a rocky foundation, your house is going to fall, right? We know that from the three little pigs. I was gonna say the three bad wolves. Just heads up, I do live in an apartment, and the lady upstairs is an African mom, and I think that enough is said with that, okay? So if you hear the noise, this is what's going on. It's pretty frequent around here. But anyhow, do what you do, boo. So we're going to talk about just the difference in root systems. Plants have taught me that when healing, when working on yourself, it's important that, like, the first step to me is to just sit with your roots. Who are you? What are you made of? What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Where are you going in life? And so let's just pull a few of these new plants that I have, because I was at the store. I was at the store, guys. I was at the store. This is for my thumbnail because I always forget. So, guys, let's just dig in and see what we have, okay? Then we'll get into some of the stuff that I've learned. The whole goal in this channel, which, oh, there's a butterfly right there. There's no way, every time I come out here to record, a butterfly comes by. Just for this channel. I have other channels, but when I record for this channel, a butterfly is passing by consistently. So let's, what was in here? I don't know, something my mom must have bought. Okay, so my mom is addicted to plants too, you guys, which is probably where I got the addiction from. So let's just pull, I want to start with this one here. I gotta move all of these to the side. So I typically have like a system, and I put all my, so I have my little boot tray here. If you don't have a boot tray, I highly recommend. If you guys want, I could create like a list of the things that I buy and that I have that I use for my plants frequently. I mean, I use this stuff all the time. Anytime I buy anything new, anytime I bring anything home, I'm always, you know, out here utilizing this process. You see, I got a bunch of crap. There's so much crap out here on the patio, and it's all plants, gardening, and stuff like that. There's like no room for anything else. So this is a begonia rex. I was saying, I think this is like a dinosaur begonia. And what I usually do is on my boot tray, I'll usually just dump it out. Now, I did put some water on this yesterday because I knew I was going to record the video, and I wanted to try to saturate the soil because it is easier to kind of like loosen things up when the soil is, you know, moist. So you'll notice that this does have some moisture to it. You see, but you see how these roots are already presenting themselves here. So when you begin to desire to heal, I think the first thing that you acknowledge or recognize is the fact that something is off. And that's what these roots show up as. Like, something isn't right here. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that this is a death sentence or anything like that, right? Even if you look at these dead leaves, you could, if this were you, your heart, you know, your mind or whatever, you could immediately assess and say there's something wrong, right? You know that there's something going on with you. For us, this would show up as physical symptoms where we are sick. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, I almost lost it. Somebody was coming by starting their car. You guys know what's interesting? Tell me if this happens to you. It's kind of like your kids, you know, when you get ready to do something. I feel like I have these people that park, their neighbors, obviously. They park near me. And I swear to you, it doesn't matter when. Anytime I decide I'm going to record, they like start their cars are loud. I'm like, y'all need to come out the house right now. As if I'm the only one that matters. But anyways, the roots are showing that something unhealthy or unstable is taking place because clearly the leaves are dead. Okay, so for us, this, like I said, it could show up as physical symptoms. We can have headaches, we can feel stress in our bodies, tension in our shoulders, our lower back. We can just feel heaviness in our chest. We can feel weight on our shoulders as if we're carrying a burden or there's something going on. We can become very detached. Look at this, the separation, okay? We can become very detached. We can feel unsupported. We can feel as if life is against us, as if things are never going to change. Those are physical symptoms that something in your root system needs to be corrected. And these are also lessons that we learn from planting. You know, I love how God takes things that are already existing, right? Everything in nature is existing. You see the tree behind us right here. It's already a thing, and he takes that to teach us lessons. You know, I think it's because we're so like hard-headed, and I know me. Sure. Good luck. Good luck. You want to say something to me, Lord? Good luck. I'm joking. Clearly I have to be joking if I'm doing this, but yeah, so we're just going to assess the roots. I'm just going to I just kind of do this. Like, I'm very gentle with it, but I just kind of do this. I don't want this soil stuck here because in my short time of being a plant mom, I have realized that when water, soil, and things get stuck and attached to your roots, that it's going to kill them. You know, because what happens is you water it, and the substrate, which is the soil and the things that you put around the roots, if you don't put the right soil around or right substrate around, then what you end up doing is just killing off those roots. So I like to try to detach as much as possible, and depending on the type of plant, I will like wash them off. I'll take them into the house and run them under the sink with the sprinkler. You know, like not the running water like that, but the sprinkler of the sink, the faucet, and I'll just let the roots get rinsed off. Now, once the roots are exposed, this is where the pain comes in, okay? So for us, as we begin the process of healing, when we start to see these roots, this is when we're like, shoot, something ain't right here, right? And this is the same thing that I'm saying here. I'm like, something ain't right here. Now, I'm gonna set this down because I want to grab a couple of things. So I have my shears here, and then I have some alcohol that I just have in a little spray bottle here. I usually will just spray and cleanse them off, and I usually just shake them. Sometimes I'll dry them off, but if I'm just cutting, the alcohol is gonna disinfect everything, and I haven't found it to hurt. I don't put anything in the sun afterwards. But so I've done enough here. I want to be able to clean off as much as I can, but I feel comfortable with this. There's still some that's stuck, but it's not clumped together. What I'm looking to do is try to remove anything that's like clumpy and gonna cause problems. I know a lot of people are like, oh, don't do that to your plants when you bring them home because you're gonna shock them. But if I don't clean this off, same thing with you. If you don't pull out your roots, assess them, and clean them off, they're going to continue to destroy the rest of the plant. And so I'd rather put it into shock, create a little bit of trauma and tension, which is what you feel when you touch those wounds, when you sit and assess your wounds, which are your roots. You see where you came from, you look at your family history, you look at the people around you, you look at the way that you've turned out, how your family members have turned out. Oh, nobody in my family is able to stay married. Okay, then there's something wrong with the roots, okay? Nobody in my family, you know, wants to be in a relationship. Check the roots. Everybody in my family is mean. check the roots. Everybody in my family is passive aggressive. Check the roots. Everybody in my family, you know, is always seeking to get something from someone. Check the roots. Every single one of us have issues and challenges within our family. There's no way to get around it. But that's why you have to pull the roots up. And pulling the roots up means just sitting with yourself and assessing who you are, where you are, and where you want to go. Are you happy? Are you satisfied with your roots? So I'm not. Clearly I'm not. These roots are okay, but I'm not satisfied with the effects of the roots, which means that there's something going on here that is impacting the rest of the outcome. Healthy roots create healthy leaves. So what I'm gonna do, you see this leaf here is burnt. Clearly this baby has sunburn. I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna cut as low as I can. I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but I like to go as low as I can because I wanna kill it at the base. When you begin to heal and to assess yourself, sorry, somebody's air conditioner came on, so I'll try to be louder. You want to attack the base, the foundation, okay? If you want to hold on to things that are continuing to rob you, steal your happiness, steal your joy, if you want to hold on to people, places, and situations that are unhealthy and not allowing you to operate from your authentic self, if they don't allow your inner child to be free, and if they're keeping you small, cut it at the root. Just get rid of it. And I know that that's very hard. So if you look, I have another video that I posted previously on the art of detachment and how my philodendron taught me that. The philodendron, did I type philodendron? That was an anthurium. I totally missed that. I need to correct that. Okay, anyways, so yeah, so here is a leaf. We're gonna correct this as well. It's burnt. Right. Sorry. I'm like, I gotta fix this. What the hell? Okay, so this leaf here, I wanna just show this. So this is a good part of healing too, because you see how this leaf, like, it's burnt and crisp on the ends here. It's already fallen off the other part. You can see that, right? But it's not all the way dead. So there are some things in our life that just need to be sniffed away. All I'm gonna do, oh, what is that, a bee? Oh my God, why you wanna come right now? No, 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 I can't have you here, sis. Sorry, y'all. What I'm gonna do though, is I'm going to cut away just the part, oh, it's got some roots attached to it. Why is that bee here right now? I mean, bees do come on my patio, but I'm gonna just cut away the parts of this that are burnt, and I'm just gonna leave it. I don't, you know, some people will cut the whole thing off. I don't feel like I have to. It's not bothering me. It's not gonna bother me. And then I'm just gonna check beneath here. Like some of these roots are like really like crusty and dried out. I'm just gonna clip them. I'm basically, guys, so in my daily practices as a nurse, I believe that when you cut away and trim back, and you'll see this is in these videos too, I believe that when you trim away and cut back on dead things, that you create more space for healthy things to come in. You'll also notice that this was 2 plants, right? So like this one, look at this leaf. Nobody cannot do nothing with that. I hope you guys can see. I don't know why this camera is doing that, but I'm gonna snip that away. And then here, these leaves are a little like busted too, but not too bad. So I'm gonna cut away the parts that are dead. I believe if you leave dead things, then the plant is spending its energy exerting it on things that are already gone. You know, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to create any phantom pain for my plants. I don't want them to be heartbroken over something that's non-existent. And you know, we can do that too with our healing. We can be heartbroken over things that are non-existent. And that's a part of, you know, detaching from those things and allowing them to be what they are, by embracing and accepting that by releasing the old pulling out those roots, assessing the roots, you can determine what's going to allow you to grow and what's going to stagnate you. So from here, I'm going to grab a little pot, and you want to go, you know, no more than 1 to 2 inches above the root base. Okay, so like the foundation of this, I'm going to put this in, and this is a good size, so I'm good here. I'm going to get my soil, which this is like perlite, and it's a Fox Farm 70/30 soil, which I really love. I have been trying to transition my plants into self-watering pots. So I've been making my own little system. I'm obviously not a professional. You guys heard me say I've only been doing this for less than a year, but I like to, again, like I said earlier, I like to be creative and I like to be inventive in creating my own stuff. So I have a string here. I bought I think I showed it in the last video, but I bought I'll show you in just a second. I bought a bunch of string, and it's specifically so this is what I do. I put the string in, put the roots in, hold them together, kind of like you're making a candle. I have this part of the string out, so I bought this string here. If you guys want me to create a list and put it in my, like in the bio of the things that I buy and use frequently, this will be one of them. But anyways, you can just cut it to the length that you desire. And then I put my soil at the bottom, pulled the string up, and then just set it right at the foundation of the roots. And then sometimes the soil can still have like chunks in it. And then I slap or shimmy that soil crystal, right? Or tanner, whatever you want to do, whether you want to slap or shake, okay? And then I will just shake again. I do like to try to stabilize the plant so that it's not so, you know, so I do push down a little bit. Let's see. I'm gonna set this up here so that you guys can see. Just making sure that it's all around. I also will check, because sometimes you'll notice here, like the roots are really close. I hope you guys can see that, but they're really close to the sides. And I don't necessarily care for that. Just my critical thinking makes me feel like that's not a good thing. And it's because of this. So plants feed, and they feed themselves. So they feed themselves off of the soil that we put them in. Is that? My God, you guys. It's a fly. Beelzebub. Get back. So once I feel good about this, which I do, I try to stand it up, position them. You know, like if you just put your plants in the pot and just let them, they will just fly in whatever direction. So I try to just stabilize them, okay? And then this looks good. You notice everything is good here. This is probably like 50% soil, 50% perlite. And I use it for stuff that's not like needing like a super chunky mix. And again, I'm new, so I'm figuring all of this out, but I do feel like I have a little bit of like a sixth sense or something, so we're gonna see. But it's trial and error. It's just like healing, right? When you're pulling up these roots and you're assessing them within yourself, like, who am I? How did I get to this state in my life? Like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Why am I like this? You don't know the answers. It's trial and error. So what you do is you give yourself a ton of grace and you just jump right in. And so that's exactly what I do. A ton of grace, jump right in. This is gonna go into my bin here that has water. So I just set it in a bin with water, and that's works for me. So these have these little self-watering. So you'll see this was $8.98, but actually I got it on clearance. Okay, so what you want to do is I pull these out and I save them. I usually will throw these away most of the time because you see I'm not missing out on anything. I have an abundance. But before I let you go, I do want to just talk to you about healthy roots. Okay, so I have an alocasia. Don't ask me what kind this is because guys, I have like, I don't know how many that have been growing. So I don't know what they are. I had them in perlite and I had them inside the house and they just weren't growing. And I was like, what the heck, the corms. And I was like, what the heck? So then I brought them outside, put them under a dome, and they've been growing. Look at these healthy roots. The roots are ridiculously healthy, but let me tell you why. Because they're in this fluval stratum, it provides nutrients. I'm very attentive to these little babies. I give them a ton of like attention, recognition, acknowledgement. These roots are amazing. They're bound to what provides them nutrients. Okay, so that's a good way for you and for us as a whole to assess whether or not something is beneficial in our lives. Do you feel grounded? Do you feel stable? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like you're being provided with nutrients? Are you being stretched? Because that's another part of this. The roots and plants grow downward, which is why, and I was just kind of talking to my mom about this, is why you don't want to give them too much space in a container. If you take a plant that's this size and you put it in this container, if I take this and I dump this in there, look at how much space there is. There's a ton of space. That doesn't allow this plant here to establish a healthy root system, because how plants grow is they grow down from the roots and then they expand outward. They want to fill the space, and that's because they feel safe in this space. When they feel safe in this space, then they will begin to sprout and to grow and to expand. And it's no different than us. When we feel safe in our spaces, we can expand, we can grow, and we can be prosperous. Because I've allowed this little leaf, this little corum, which it started out as a little corum, because I've allowed this little corum safety, the dome, protection, and it's been given light and water, it feels safe to grow, to stretch. Its roots are amazing. I mean, look at these. This is like picture perfect roots, guys. This is what happens when we allow ourselves the space to grow, to feel safe, and when we just sit. So if you're challenged by life and feeling like you are not sure where to start on this healing journey, use these plants as examples of just first step is to establish a safe space to assess yourself, assess your health, and then from there, allow your roots to grow, to spread, to stretch, and to expand. I hope that this made sense, guys. I hope this makes sense. I have all these like crazy things in my mind. I'm always like, how am I going to get this out and explain this to people? But I hope it made sense. I thank you so much for being here. If you're interested in more plant care journey challenges, concerns, as well as healing your roots, your soul, your spirit, your mind, and your body, stick with me. Please feel free to subscribe. Don't forget to like and drop a comment if you have any video suggestions, or if you're interested or curious about a particular plant. I may not have it, but if I do, I'll tell you what I know about it or the lessons that it's taught me, because in all my plants, there's a lesson that they've taught me about myself and growing and expanding. And I'm excited about this journey with you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. All right, herbies. This is the channel, Healing Roots Botanicals is HRB. So I'm gonna call herbies. That's what I think. I think that makes sense. Herbies, right? Herbies, not herpes. Anyways, guys, have a good night. I'll see you soon. Bye.